What's up, guys? Ben here, bringing you another video today. As you can tell, I am in a different spot. There's a Blue Jays logo behind me. I'm at the FaZe Toronto office right now. Shout out to Seabass and the boys for letting me use this spot here on Monday morning to record some videos. I'm also using like some of their mics, which is cool. So we're gonna dive in. It's Tuesday of the major week. You know what we do. We're gonna dive in, make our bracket, make our predictions. There's a lot on the line this tournament. Let's dive in and see how things stand with how I think some of the matches are going to go, and maybe make a prediction. Well, I am gonna make a prediction on who is gonna win the whole thing. All right, let's dive in. We're gonna go ahead and start with winners bracket, losers bracket, and then we'll kind of bounce around and make our bracket from there. First, we have the top half of winners bracket, OPTIC Texas versus Florida Mutineers. In the past, if you were OPTIC Texas, you didn't like this matchup. Last year, Florida had their number in these matchups for whatever reason. Dave Patty turned into a different beast against these guys. And it was always just battle, you know, Sky's going off, Big Wake going off. Obviously, they're gone now. Dave is also gone now. And oddly enough, Florida actually kind of had their number in the beginning of the season. Since then, not so much. Although the Florida team has gotten a lot better recently. So here's what I think. I think OPTIC's going to win it, but I think it might get kind of sketchy. I like this Florida team. And if they play the game they've been playing recently, especially in search, and they can probably steal hardpoint off of OPTIC potentially, like especially if it's first map, you know, first map on an event, like, you know, things can be a little bit funky. You got to ease into it. I can see Florida forcing a game 5. I just don't think they're going to win the game 5. I think OPTIC can get it done in that situation. Next up, we have the Boston Breach versus the Minnesota Rocker. This is a fun one. I don't really know how to call this one, and I think it's going to be our last match of the day. Really, really tricky. You know, Boston has been kind of up and down. They brought Reese in, still some issues. Rocker's kind of feeling pretty good after last weekend, but I don't know what to think of them coming to land. I think Rocker didn't have the worst of lands in Major 4, so I'm going to pick them to win this one. I'm also going to pick a game 5, but I'm so back and forth on this matchup. I really don't know. I think it's a coin flip, but for now, I'm going to go ahead and pick Rocker. All right, let's keep it moving. We've got the bottom side of winners, and we're starting off with our first match. Atlanta FaZe versus the Vegas Legion. Look, I think we're all rooting for Vegas to do well. We want these guys to make champs. They have not had a good run against FaZe. They've struggled, especially in Search and Destroy, against FaZe in their matchups this season. And one of those was with Standy. So I really don't see how Vegas can win this one. I'm going to be honest, as firepower wise. FaZe have been really good in winners round 1 matches historically. I guess that means maybe an upset's coming. I don't know, but for now, I'm going to pick FaZe, take this one 3-1, and Vegas gets sent to losers. And then we got Toronto Ultra versus the New York Subliners. This is going to be your second match on Thursday. It should be a pretty lit crowd for this one. I got an absolute banger. I think this New York team is solid. I think they're good. I do think Toronto's going to ice up in a game 5 finally, but I will put a caveat on this one. Toronto has not been good at game 5s. The last couple times they played them, yes, I know most of them are online. This is land, blah, 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 blah. But keep that in mind going into this game 5. Both these teams, kind of iffy game 5 search teams. Sometimes they toss, find ways to lose. This one can get kind of dicey, but I think the home crowd is going to help Toronto get through some jitters in this series. While we are here, let's also just kind of predict our winners round 2 matchups. So we got Rocker versus OPTIC. I think Rocker could give them potentially an interesting battle, maybe win a control. But I think OPTIC win this pretty cleanly. I think they're the better hardpoint team and might be definitely the better search team. Control's the one game mode with OPTIC that's sometimes a little bit questionable. And Rocker have actually been pretty good at the game mode. So I'm going to give them that one, but I just don't see Rocker winning this matchup like a majority of the time. And I think OPTIC get it done in 4. And then we get a rematch we've seen a million times. Atlanta FaZe versus Toronto. This is a fun one. I mean, FaZe has won most of these. Toronto does have the odd victory here and there against the squad, but for the last like 2 years, it's been pretty lopsided in terms of FaZe. Now, my concern with FaZe in a matchup like this is control. If it's 1-1, Toronto might win it. I'm going to say, assuming that is the case, I think FaZe is one of those teams that you can always count to clutch up in a game 5. So I think they get it done here. I think it's an exciting and fun series. The crowd really gets their money's worth, and it's a tough game 5 loss for Toronto as they get bounced to losers bracket. So OPTIC Texas winners finals. We'll get to that in a minute, but let's scroll all the way over and start talking about losers bracket. And this is where things get really interesting and fun. We're talking about teams that have qualification online for champs. So let's dive in on some of those teams right now as we look through these matchups. All right, first up, we have Thieves versus Florida. Now, this one's interesting. I don't know how this Florida team will respond to a loss, and Thieves are coming in and have comments to make a losers bracket run. I'm going to go ahead and pick Thieves in a crazy series, game 5. They've got to really kind of ease into this one, and they get it done. And 2 real tough losses for Florida. I, though, will say that I think Florida have a real chance in this series based on how Thieves have been playing recently. With Thieves coming in cold, you never know. But I think Thieves will find a way to win this one. I feel pretty good about that. Next up, we have Boston versus London Royal Ravens. And I'm going to be honest, London, I think their season is over, and I think they're just going to get ran in this one by Boston. I don't see much hope for them in this matchup. All right, we're getting to the fun side here of lose round 1. Well, maybe not. We got one fun matchup, Vegas versus Seattle. This is going to be your last match on Friday, and it's going to be a banger. I think whoever loses this match is potentially going to get eliminated from chance qualification because there's a world where Seattle might not make it. And I'm going to be honest, right now, if these teams play, I think Vegas wins it. And I don't even think it needs to go to 5. I think Vegas can get it done in 4 and take some respawns off the Seattle team that looks lost. But you never know. Maybe Seattle find this losers run out of nowhere and make it. But I think they get dead last in this tournament, and they hope and pray that things go their way for them to go ahead and make champs with the 190 spot that they're currently sitting on, I believe. All right, final matchup. We have New York versus LAG. And just like the London matchup, I don't see LAG being a threat to New York here, and I think they get trounced pretty easily, and their season is over after the loss. All right, let's keep the losers bracket moving here. We're going to do it all the way to losers finals because we already finished winners bracket up to winners finals. LA Thieves versus Boston. I don't know what to think about this one. Again, if Thieves win that first series, I think they get a little bit of confidence. They get to get moving. Boston's a tricky team. Just don't know what to think with this team sometimes. You know, I thought their run at Major 3 was kind of cool. Major 4, I don't know. And it's a tough one to call for me because Boston's been so kind of iffy in search. So I'm going to go ahead and actually take Thieves in a game 5. Thieves is grinding out game 5s, and Boston get top 8. And I feel like that's a good spot for Boston. They have a lot to work on. I don't think they use their kills efficiently. And again, their search issues might be a problem at this event. And let's just clean up the top side so we can just make this easy. We got Toronto Ultra versus the LA Thieves. This is a fun one. Thieves starting to get a little bit of momentum. I just think it ends here. I think Toronto get it done in 4. This one could go 5. But I just don't see Toronto losing back-to-back. Thieves get top 6, which is not too bad considering how things started. Probably not what they want. They probably want to make it to Sunday. But I just think that Toronto's in better form, and I got to pick them now in this matchup. All right, the bottom side of losers potentially in this tournament could be, like, kind of incredible. I'm not going to lie. Thinking about the possibility of FaZe potentially being down there if they lose to Vegas. Like, there's a lot of just awesomeness that can happen back down here. So Vegas versus New York is a really cool and fun matchup. You know, I like New York's ability here to win some of the respawn maps in this. I'm really worried about their clutch and search, and I feel like Vegas is going to find a way to get this done in 5 somehow, and it's going to be a crazy series. I'm hoping for a lot of crazy series this event, but it may not work out that way. And I think it'd be a real tough top 8 for New York, who I think are one of the contenders for this event, but someone's going to lose. And I'm subscribing to the Vegas run here. They make it the top 6. And so this is where things get interesting. And I don't actually know the situation here in terms of points when we get here. So if someone in the comments wants to let me know like how this will play out between Rocker, Vegas, and Seattle based on this matchup. But you have these teams playing each other for top 4 on Saturday night, which would be, that'd be incredible, man. Like what a way to kind of end one of the runs potentially for the season. One of these teams. They just played recently and Vegas got it done. I believe that was not with Dylan. So that kind of adds an interesting wrinkle in this. I don't really know how to call this one. I almost want to coin flip it because Vegas could win back-to-back against Rocker. But if Rocker are playing the way they did last weekend, especially with the improved search, it could be a big problem for Vegas. So I'm actually going to maybe be a little funky here. I'm going to have Vegas losing 4. I don't even think it's going to get to a game 5. I got Rocker actually taking like 2 respawns and a search in the series and getting it done. We're going to get a little crazy, but Vegas ends top 6. Is that enough to qualify for champs? I don't know, considering the Seattle situation. Let me know in the comments, but I think they would just fall short. I do believe, though, if Vegas were to tie Seattle, I think they have the head-to-head on them, so something to monitor as we start talking about things in the weekend. All right, let's do our Sunday order, and I still don't understand why it works this way. But we got Optic Texas versus Atlanta FaZe in the winners finals. I think right now I got to pick Optic, man, against FaZe. Until FaZe can prove they can be Optic, I'm going to have a tough time picking them in the winners finals. I think Optic's kind of destined to win this event, and I think they take the winners against FaZe, and FaZe actually get a map on them, but it's just not enough. All right, and let's play out the rest of the matches on Sunday. Toronto versus Rocker. This is a fun one. You've got ex-Toronto players on Rocker being there on a Sunday. Rocker feeling good. They sneak a top 4 in this one. They run to Toronto and they get 3-0'd. I think it's just poetic for that to happen that way. Toronto really feeling the crowd. They're hyped up, and they get it moving. And the Rocker team top 4 would be really good based on how things have gone this season. You would, I think, move up a lot. They may actually, by doing this, they might move up to like the 6th seed, which would be way better than being 7th or 8th and having to play Optic or FaZe round 1. All right, we got the losers finals, FaZe versus Toronto. I think this is the 3rd time we've had this now at I'm pretty sure it might even be the 4th we've had it at a Toronto event. This happens, but I got FaZe beating Toronto game 5. FaZe, I think, always just a little bit more of the icier team. They always find a way. It's a gritty series. They're both very good. The map pool is fun, but FaZe get it done and make it to the grand finals. All right, and now we have the final matchup, Optic Texas versus FaZe. Again, until FaZe can prove it to me that they can be Optic, I think the streak ends or keeps going here. I think just like every other final we've had, this ends in 6. Optic take that game 6 control, maybe like in a sealer just to be poetic. And they beat FaZe in back-to-back matchups. They win Major 5, and they are your champions. I just feel like Optic, to me, the team right now that feels most likely to win this tournament. That's not to say that I don't think Toronto or FaZe have a very good chance, because I think they do. But if Optic play the way they were playing online, I think they win this. If they falter a little bit, if some of the slang's not there, the teamwork's not there, this tournament is wide open, and it's really whoever plays best on Sunday, because I could see like 3, 4, maybe 5 teams winning. Like, we were really harsh on New York in this bracket, but I could also see like New York winning if they can beat Vegas and get past some of the roadblocks there. So I think the bottom side of this bracket is really, really tough. And whoever gets through here, I think, is going to have the momentum to make it deep in this tournament. So I'm excited to see how this plays out. If this is what we get, especially with the first couple of days of this tournament, I think it's going to be a legendary and fun way to end the season. All right, so let me know in the comments what you guys think of the video. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more. A couple of more content pieces coming for you this week. We're going to have a lot of stuff on the YouTube over the next few weeks. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'll see you guys on the next one.